But look, let's start off with the big story of the morning, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's no better place to start than to actually just read out what the actual story is. I mean, I quote tweeted it on my Twitter this morning. Basically, this is it. A source close to one of the Man United players has claimed that Mason Mount's move to the club was not for football reasons. This is coming in from Samuel Luckhurst in the Manchester Evening News. So let me read that back to you. It's in the article that he has written about Mason Mount. There's more detail in that, but a source close to one of Manchester United's players have claimed that Mason Mount's move to the club was not for footballing reasons. We're also going to talk about Lisandro Martinez, who will be called up, we understand, to the Argentinian squad. Lisandro Martinez will be called up to the Argentinian squad next week, as he's an important player within the group, and this is their last reunion before the Copa America, and he will be continue to recover his process with them, completing sessions with the squad. Some people are saying this happened last August and he got injured. Why is he flying out to the other side of the planet to play for Argentina when he's not been fit all season? So there's outrage around that as well. Meltdowns everywhere. Personally, I don't think either things are bad. In my opinion, I don't think there's a problem with either, but we'll delve into both. But I want to start off with this story we were just talking about. A source close to one of Man United players has claimed that Man United's Mason Mount's move to the club was not for football reasons. What the hell does that mean? Incredible. And look, I want to just say from the very off here, what that reads is that Mason Mount is a Manchester United player, not because he's a footballer. Absolutely incredible. And, you know, let me just get this right. A source close to one of Man United's players has claimed that Mason Mount's move to the club was not for football reasons. So, a source close to one of Man United's players, not a Man United player then. Who is the source? Who is the source? Is it a Manchester United player's Tesco delivery guy? Who is the source? You know what? I wasn't going to say this. There's no problem with me saying it, but I'm just going to say it. As somebody, well, as an outlet, whatever you want to call it, as a community that has been the victim of this 2 days ago, we need to do better. We need to do better, because who is the source close to a Man United player that is allowing this to be put out to the public and Man United fans? Enough is enough. Ineos need to start looking at this. The players need to start looking at this. It is damaging them. Now, the players deserve criticism. We're not playing well. We sometimes see it on the pitch. They're inconsistent. But in fairness to the players, they are being tarnished by shit like this. You go back to the story at the weekend where apparently the players were outraged that Rasmus Højlund did an interview with the United Stand. I said to you on Sunday night, this is not a true story. It's not a true story. People are saying, well, I'm going to believe it over you, Mark, because it's coming from a credible outlet that's been following United for years. So I think I'm going to believe you. And I'm telling you, it's not true. It is not true. We were at Carrington all day. The players knew the interview was taking place. Some of them were a bit uncomfortable with it, but didn't really, didn't want him not to do it. Rasmus wouldn't have been stopped doing it. Watchers the United Stand wanted to do it. Story goes out on Sunday, completely false. Truth comes out from different journalists last night that actually some United fans find it quite humorous that he was doing it with the United Stand when they'd been criticised by it. Some complete nonsense story that idiots in the fan base believe because they want to believe it, coming from sources that aren't named. And here we are. It's quite well timed actually, because we need to start calling this out. Who's the fucking source? Because the trouble it causes our football club is incredible. And as somebody who was a victim of this on Sunday and absolutely stunned by the pylon from a source that didn't have the true story, we've now got another source close to a player saying that Mason Mount's not been bought for footballing reasons. How damaging is this to the dressing room? How damaging is this to Mason Mount? And how damaging is it to what we're trying to build at Manchester United? Now, we're a news show. We're going to talk about it. We're a fan community. We're going to talk about it. But in talking about it, we don't just go, wow, Mason Mount wasn't bought for real footballing reasons. We talk about it. And God, do you make me accountable if I go off piste. You do. Who is making these people accountable? Who is Samuel Luckhurst accountable to in putting that article out to thousands of United fans that Mason Mount, according to some source, has been signed for non-footballing reasons? What are the non-footballing reasons? Who is the source? You can't just drop that out there and go, ugh. You know, I got loads of shit on Sunday. I got death threats over something that wasn't true. And you've got articles like that coming out with no detail on it, and we're the enemy. Come on, we've got to be better than this. What are the non-footballing reasons, and who is the fucking source? Because I might be getting a bit agitated this morning, but I'll tell you what, the shit I had to put up with, that Beth had to put up with, that Faz had to put up with, that my staff had to put up with for the last 48 hours on lies, and then 48 hours later, and, you know, being told to shut down as United fans, shut down, you're toxic for the club. And then 48 hours later, a story like this comes out that's got no source and doesn't tell us the non-footballing reasons. Oh, that's fine. No, that's fine. They've been to university and they've done a journalist degree, so they can write that. You're just a fan. You can't write the truth. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting where we're heading. People need to wake up and realise that people put stuff out there that's not true. What are the non-footballing reasons that we've signed Mason Mount? Who is the source close to the player? Who is the player? You can't do this anymore. What if the source is lying? What if the player is lying? What if they've got some vendetta? This goes out into the public vacuum of our fan base and becomes something that damages Ten Hag, Mason Mount and this football club. And it's fine if it's true, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is. And there's the mic drop, right? Last summer, I mean, look, I think we signed Mason Mount for footballing reasons. I think we signed Mason Mount for footballing reasons. And it makes me laugh that the minute he touches grass, a story like this comes out. And this is the problem with United. People talk about toxicity and negativity. All I want, and all you want, is Manchester United to be successful. And I look at the current setup and I know it's not good enough. So I shout about it. I'm negative about it because it's not good enough. There's a very big difference between Mason Mount there's a very big difference between a Man United footballer playing bad for weeks and being called out for not being good enough, compared to Mason Mount's back from a long time injury, and the second he hits grass, we didn't buy him for footballing reasons. That's toxicity. That's a campaign. That's an agenda. He's not even put a fucking shirt on yet. He's only just come back from an injury, and there's a negative story about him. And yet we're negative. Come on. I'm talking about as a community. We're negative because we see players not putting in a shift. Going after Mason Mount when he's only just had his first training session, saying he's not been signed for footballing reasons, well, tell us then. You can't leave it hanging in the air. That's like, your neighbours move in and the neighbours across the road say, well, I'd be worried if I was you. Keep your kids locked up. What? Why? What? You can't just say that. Why? Why? Is he an ice cream man and he's going to give them ice cream and make them get unhealthy? Why? You've got to give more than that. You've got to give more than that. And I'll tell you this, right? So we signed Mason Mount for not footballing reasons. I don't agree. But I'm going to tell you a true story that I told you last summer. Last summer, Man United played a friendly in Oslo. Beth and Ryan, our producer, flew over the day before. On the same flight, sat next to them, was Darren Fletcher, Manchester United's technical director. They're having a chat on the plane. Darren Fletcher says, quite rightly, I'm not going to start talking to you about stuff because you might put it out there. Ryan and Beth said, that's not how we work. We won't put anything out there that you don't want to put out there. And they were just talking about, United, when he used to play for United. And they got onto the topic of Mason Mount. And Darren Fletcher said to Beth and Ryan, Mason Mount is a player that Erik Ten Hag has liked for ages. He's obsessed with him and really excited about the signing. So that's from Darren Fletcher. How is it not for footballing reasons when it's very, very obvious that Erik Ten Hag massively likes Mason Mount? Also, Arteta and Klopp like Mason Mount. In the same article in the Manchester Evening News, apparently Arteta was going around telling people early last year that he expected to sign Mason Mount. So, maybe I'm just a little bit on the edge because of the unfairness that was attributed to us at the weekend. But I'm not just going to let this rest. It's not fair on the dressing room, on the United players, and Mason Mount and Erik ten Hag that a story drops out from a source that we don't know who it is again. And I think that, look, I don't mind when I say to you on a Monday, this is an A-star source and I've been told this about this. I can't tell you who that is. And it's actually, you know, it's about stuff that's relevant. I think when you say a Man United player, someone close to a Man United player is shit-stirring in that way, then, you know, there needs to be more to the story than that. What are the non-footballing reasons? What is this source? Because, you know, I just don't think it's true. I just do not think it's true. And on the topic of Mason Mount being bought for not footballing reasons, I was thinking about this when I went live because it's important to always try and figure out if there is something to it, because I would not be writing that article. I would not be presenting a show and just saying to you, we signed Mason Mount for non-footballing reasons. I would want to know what they were, and I would want to put it in the article if I'm being honest. The only reason I thought about non-footballing reasons with Mason Mount, and I'd love to know what you think, the only reason I could think was homegrown quota. You know, we signed Mason Mount because he's English for the homegrown quota. But that's not a non-footballing reason. If you sign a player because they're English because of homegrown quotas, that's still a footballing reason, because Manchester United are a football club and our footballing squad needs a certain amount of homegrown players. That's the only thing I could think, and that's not a non-footballing reason. It's sinister when you say a non-footballing reason, because you're talking about, has Mason Mount got shares in Manchester United? Is there somebody at Mason, you know, is Mason Mount's family close to Richard Arnold? You know, that's what you start to think. And look, you need more than that. You need more than that. Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video, because we all know only legends like videos, and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video, and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, as always.